Hey, it's a brand new day. My vegetables are shining. They are looking so good, but so do the weeds. So in this video, I'm taking time to weed. I am going to do some harvesting because I have seen some fruits. You guys, I'm so excited. This organic vegetable growing thing, really, I mean, you will get your fruits, but it really takes some input, like some energy. So with me being occupied with everything else, I came back the other day to my garden. I looked at the weeds and I wondered, really, who owns this garden? Where is she? So I got a hoe and I had to work out those very strong cereal like weeds. Are they cereals? Okay, they are cereals. They are grasses. Sorry, they are grasses. Cereals should be edible. So anyway, I had to take them out. Now, my tomatoes, remember the tomatoes that are growing in this garden were not really planted by me. They came with the manure. So they come in really different varieties. There is this particular tomato. It is lying low. It has produced like 40 fruits. I am so excited about it. I'm proud of it. Mommy is proud of you, baby. Anyhow, however, the fact that it's lying low, it mixes together with the grasses. So when I was digging, I was worried of damaging the fruits, but also I realized I have to kind of mulch. I had to lift it up. The fruits were lying on the soil and I know that is going to make them rot. As I dug, I also realized the soil has become softer. Remember, most of this soil remained after I was bagging the planters. When I made these my corn gardens and the like, the soil that I remained with was a bit coarse, but as I dig through, I can see it is lighter and it is ready to be reused. As I weeded away, you guys, I could not help but remember my childhood. I grew up doing this gardening thing. I am a gardener's daughter. I remember we always grew our food, like organic food. We always had staples. We grew peas, we grew legumes, we grew, I think, almost everything we ever needed apart from meat. Though we actually had birds around our home. My mother is, she's special. Up to today, she still grows food. So I remember having these small gardens. Like I always had a garden of maize, I actually had a garden of flowers. Can you imagine? I always had those tiny gardens I would go to maybe after school. So I think with growing up and living in the urban center, I kind of strayed away from that life. But then the real me enjoys plants, enjoys nature. So this weeding really was fun for me. I realized that there's a lot of weeding I could not do with the hoe, so I was using my hands, especially under the tomatoes. As you can see now, I've approached the corn. This very tomato actually originates from the corn garden, so it went over the corn and started creeping towards the kale. So I had to uproot it using my fingers. Now, most of the garden is already done by now. Like I was thinking, all I have to do is make 360 through my garden. You guys who are watching this video or watching me for the very first time, this is a very small garden. It's almost 10 feet by 10 feet. Starting this garden was hard. It was a hassle. I had to put away, like I had to demarcate this small space using wire mesh. I had to protect the things I'm growing like from the dogs. I have 5 dogs. I also made these planters using old stuff I had around. You will notice old suitcases, old containers, old everything. I'm also collecting bottles that I'm going to make my herbs garden out of. So if you keep seeing containers, those are my new planters I am going to plant. I live in Uganda, where we kind of have 2 seasons of rain. We have a season from around late March maybe through April, and then we have another season from August through to probably up to August, September and to October. Now, this is when people usually grow food. If you grow food beyond that time, you have to water. So I kind of planted my vegetables against the gradient. The rains had not come by the time I planted, so I kept watering literally every day, and then the rains came. Now at this particular time, it's not rained for like more than 3 weeks. This is my spinach. I was telling you in the previous video that my spinach seems to be also like sick, and I was giving it some time to see whether it would recover, and then maybe I would let it, you know, stay, but it didn't. The insides were dry, so I had to uproot it. So actually a lot of the weeds and these unwanted other things, like now the spinach, I gave them to a friend of mine. She has animals, and the greens are really good for the animals, so I uprooted the spinach, excess anything, and I gave her, and she's going to give her plants. Most of the things you're seeing me collecting, these grasses, her animals actually eat them and they become healthy. Now I'm digging around this amaranthus dodo. Amaranthus comes in so many varieties, but this particular variety I have a few plants, maybe one, two, three, maybe like 3. This particular variety I just harvest off, and then I leave it growing. Like I can pluck the leaves every maybe week, maybe 2 months. If it's for myself, I can get every day, but when I want to get a lot of it, I have to give it some time. Gardening, we were a number of women, and we thought maybe that if we could grow vegetables in our different homes, but when we are very many people, we could actually end up selling the surplus after feeding our families. So sometimes I harvest a lot of amaranthus, and I have been giving it away, but I have recently got someone who wants to be buying it from me. So I'll be harvesting some for sale and some for feeding. Now this very one I am digging around is still young. Guys, do you know that currently the only thing I have planted in this garden is kale? Tomatoes I didn't plant. This particular type of amaranthus I can't give. It brings what are they, seeds? Too soon or too early. I cannot continuously pluck it. I have to harvest once and for all. So this one I have had to remove. Now this particular one I can continue to harvest from it. It also grew by itself. I didn't plant it, though it is different from this other variety here. So I was saying that I can only now see, let me see, the kale that I planted by myself. Everything else has grown by itself, and I'm giving it time. Like the tomatoes, they are wild, they're all over the place. I'm giving them time. Let them finish their season and they'll be gone. Guys, this, in my previous video I was showing you how I dealt with pests in this particular garden, and this is the part of the sukuma wiki kale that was infested. Today I am harvesting soursop. In my first video about this organic farming, I show you how I was cutting part of my soursop tree to give light to my garden. Now my soursop had also not been bringing fruit, and after kind of cutting some of these branches, it brought fruit, and this is the first harvest. Yes, so I had someone climb it for me. Not that I can't climb, I actually, anyway, I can climb trees, but anyway, out of, honoring myself, I had someone harvest that for me. This is the healthiest planter, or this is the healthiest garden of kale. I have actually, I have 3. This is the healthiest part, and today I was harvesting. This young lady is the one I'm giving my weeds, so she's collecting them, and I thought to myself, as I'm giving her the ones for her animals, why not give her some also to eat? So it is more blessed to give than to receive, isn't it? She was so excited, she couldn't believe she's going to have a green supply to take her maybe 2 days. Okay, I may not give her all because it can be too much, but I shared that day. I am so excited at this moment. Like, what am I going to do with the soursop? Will I just eat it? Will I make juice out of it? I harvested soursop. It's the first time in like almost 5 years, guys. I used to harvest soursop. Like at some point it never used to bring fruit, then it brought fruit, then the fruit would be infected. But this one, I'm I am so excited and I hope it is really, really healthy. This is how my garden looks after harvesting, guys. It's literally from that corner to that corner. Are they even 10 feet? I doubt. Anyway, so this is the only spinach that I have left in the corn garden. I just want to remove these excess leaves from them. Even when you hold them, there is a way they are, like this, the part of the leaf, is it a stalk, grows very tall and so strong, like so hard, and then the leaf is smaller. There's a way it looks squashed up. The leaf is tougher. It is not the spinach that I started with. At the beginning it was so healthy, so I have to just remove all these parts. And looking at the work I've done, I've taken about maybe 15 minutes digging through, and this is what it looks like after. Okay, I know it looks so leafy, but those are the tomatoes. I'm giving them time. Let them grow, finish their course, then I'll plant other things as I wanted. So this is how I look. This is the youngest amaranthus that I was weeding through. The tomatoes are growing. This is the first tomato that came. It is starting to kind of ripen. It doesn't look very happy, but it's the first one that came and it is ripening. But now this, I think I've heard people call this particular tomato type money maker. It's usually small and tough. But this is now the plants that I was telling you remained standing. And they've produced fruit, not like the other bigger tomato, which has almost 40. This one has about maybe 10 to 13. And here they are about actually 3 plants. This is the last part of the kale, the third garden of the kale that I've not been showing you much. In this particular garden, I remained with a few plants. I actually planted like 17, but maybe 4 survived. All the others were eaten by pests in the beginning as I was planting. So I am hand weeding from this particular garden. I'm going to pluck off the excess leaves and my weeding is over. It is time to harvest. These are all the leaves I have harvested. I harvested kale, I harvested amaranthus. Now I am going to divide. I already gave the other young lady, she left. Now I have extra leaves I cannot leave in the garden. So I am kind of trying to mix the amaranthus. Apparently it tastes better when the leaves are mixed, like instead of eating sukuma wiki alone, if you mix it with amaranthus it tastes better. But isn't it also more nutritious? In nutrition we believe when you mix foods, you kind of complement a nutrient that may be lacking, or you supplement on the nutrient that may be lacking in that vegetable. So here we are with our sour soap. I've also split it into 3. I'm going to keep 1 and give out 2 to the gentleman who helped me harvest, and then to another person, another neighbor of mine. In Africa, you guys, we share like your neighbor is literally family. So when you get a lot of this, we usually share. So I'm just bagging it up. This one is the one I'm going to give the guy who harvested. He's going to eat it, like he's going to just eat it. And this is what I left for myself. That's the kale I left for myself. This is the garden in the previous video that I showed you that had been infested by caterpillars. And this is how it is recovering. I think it's getting healthy. All these leaves that are roughly torn up and all, they were eaten. Now it's a few days later, and this is the part of the kale that I harvested, and the leaves are back. But this is what I'm going to give the other person who asked for kale, for money, like for her she's going to pay. She's going to give me almost $2. Look at my tomatoes. Now this is maybe 3 days after weeding. I am seeing the tomato leaves. I have to remove extra, like I have to thin up, and the tomatoes are showing me signs of ripening. I'm about to harvest. This is the tomato which has about 40. At this point, I had not yet mulched. I need to mulch, otherwise I'm not going to benefit anything from here. So every time I come to the garden, I literally count. In I think about 2 weeks, a guy could count about 30, 35, 36 tomatoes. Now I've crossed over 40. It's just not stopping. If I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like I come and keep counting, and every time I find more, I am so excited. Yay! I was reading a scripture that says, tell the righteous it shall be well with them. Sometimes you can hustle with life, try this, try that, and you're not even sure. Like, things can fail. Things keep failing. Life is hard. But that scripture says, tell the righteous it shall be well with them. They will eat the fruits of their deeds. So when I see these fruits, you guys, check the red tomato. I'm gonna eat the fruits of my labor. I feel so excited. Guys, do you know there is no single pesticide? This is pure organic food. Look at that. Pure organic food. I'm going to give these tomatoes like maybe one more day, and I think they'll be ready to eat. I'm not taking this carried one. I want more. Look at my amaranthus. This is just a few days later. Guys, remember I plucked all these leaves away. They have regrown. Look at the kale. This particular plant was my daughter's. She planted an Irish potato and it didn't germinate. And instead, these seeds of very tiny, they are not eggplants, bitter tomatoes have grown. I'm not so sure I can keep them. They grow very big. Check what I found in my garden. Pumpkin. And then an avocado. Of course, this one I'll have to transplant it somewhere else, but they've grown by themselves. Guys, I brought rubbish in this garden, the seeds it has come with, and look at the tomatoes. They have ripened. So I'm going to harvest these ones, and my family is gonna eat organic food today.